Alright, what's up everyone? My name is Matt and welcome back to another walkthrough video. This walkthrough will actually include two downloads. The first is just the actions and I can and I can't, and the second will also include the conjunction but. Now you know what your students can handle. If you think they can handle adding in the conjunction but, then sure, teach the second version. If not, just go with the first version, and I think your class will go a lot more smoothly. If you think you're going to want to teach the second version in the second week, then you can download the second version and edit it yourself. It shouldn't be too difficult. If you think it'll be too difficult, then just download both versions. I'm really curious about where most of my viewers are from, so if you could, please leave a comment below and tell me what country you're in and what grades you're teaching. If you find videos like this useful, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Okay, let's get into the walkthrough. Okay, let's take a look at this PowerPoint. I don't want to spend too much time going through the beginning of the PowerPoint, just because pretty much all of them are the same. If you're really curious about how I do the beginning of the lesson with the rules and everything, just watch any of the videos on my channel and you can see very clearly how I do it. So let's just skip ahead. The warm-up for this class is a song, and with grade 2 or grade 1 or grade 3, every day singing a song can be a really useful way to start the class. And because I really want my grade 2s to know the days of the week, I like to do the days of the week song. Now, as any of you who have seen some of my videos know, I like to sing a song myself, but just in case you're not into singing and dancing, you can just go on YouTube at this link and you can find this video. I think this is a really good days of the week song. Put it on, sing it with the kids will love it, and then you can show them this and say them one more time with them to drill their pronunciation. Now normally I think saying the date or saying the day of the week is a good habit, so you can show this every class. What day of the week is it? And they can say today is, and whatever day of the week it is. Okay, for grade 2 or grade 1, they should be able to handle this. They might not know all of the days of the week off the top of their head, but with a little help, after a few months, they'll know them all, and it'll be a really good practice for them. Okay, the review. Don't forget, you should be reviewing with your students. It's essential so that they can remember the things they've already learned. Otherwise, I promise they'll forget. So if you download this PowerPoint, you can just add in your review material here. All right, let's learn. So in this lesson, we're teaching 6 verbs, okay? And if this is grade 2 or grade 1 or grade 3 or even grade 4, it's really useful to teach an action for all of these. It's perfect when you teach verbs to teach an action because it's natural to do an action when you do a verb. So first show them the Chinese and the picture, or whatever country you're in, show them the local language, and then see if they know. If they do, award a point to their team, okay? Now this one is obviously sing, and do an action for sing. I mean, there's lots of different actions you could do. I like to do it like this, like I'm holding a microphone, and I say sing, and I do an action. And I tell the class, do the action, do the action. If I see students doing the action, I praise them and give them points and say, look, she's doing the action. I'll make her or him stand up, do the action, high fives, and I give her points. As I notice other teams or other kids are doing the actions, I'm praising them, okay? If you have your teams in rows, it's really useful to, when you do the action, if you see one row doing the actions better, you're like, wow, this team is doing the action. Yes, sing, sing. This team gets more points, okay? And the other teams will notice and they'll do the same thing, okay? It's really a great way to get them to do the actions. Okay, and rinse and repeat with each one. Now you can think of your own actions, obviously. I can't tell you which action's best. I mean, whatever feels natural to you will be the best because then you'll remember it forever, So just go through each one, same thing, see if they know it, praise whoever does know it, give them a point if you'd like. If not, don't worry about it. You don't want to start giving out points and then not remember which team you gave points to if there's like 4 or 5 or 6 teams. So it's best in this case, unless you really know, don't give out points, just high five, praise, do the action, drill the word. You can watch my videos about how I do this in my class. You can see how I'm drilling the actions, okay? So just keep going through all of them. Skip rope, run, fly, and that's it, okay? And the first game that I have here is a quick say game. And I just want to mention this real fast. When you're teaching, always teach something and then play a short game or an easy game. It's a great way for them to learn, okay? If you teach something which you know is new, do a short game or activity. Really quick. It could just be 2 minutes, but it'll get it into their memories, okay? Okay, let's take a look at this game. The way it works is really, really simple. So I have all the new vocabulary words on the PowerPoint, and I also have the numbers 1 through 6. Now, the way it works in the beginning is I'm going to say the new vocabulary word, and they need to say the corresponding number. Always do it this way, so it's a listening activity first. You say the new material, they say the corresponding number. Now, you could change these numbers to letters. You could change it to harder numbers like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You could change it to colors. You can change it to whatever you want. The key is that you're saying the new word and they need to listen, and then they need to say whatever corresponds with it, which tells you they can understand what you're saying because they're able to say whatever corresponds with it, okay? And always start with, like I said, you saying and them just saying the easy thing that they already know, in this case, the numbers, okay? So I would explain it to them in English, even if they know it already. I'll tell them like this. I'll say, okay, I will say the word, you say the number. If I say sing, you say 2. If I say fly, you say 6, okay? Are you ready? And then I say run, and they say 3. And whoever says it first, I call that student out and say, good job, and I give that team a point. Swim, 5. Great, good job, and I give a point. Do that for a minute or two, probably like a minute, and then switch it. So then you are saying the number or whatever the thing they already know that you're reviewing is, and then they say the new word. Always do it this way. You say the new word first, they say the number. Then you say the number or whatever else it is, and then they say the new word. Always do it like this. So it starts as a listening activity, and then it changes to a speaking activity. In both cases, you're reviewing the new vocabulary. The first case is reviewing it as a listening activity, and then as a speaking activity. Okay? Really simple. This game goes for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes max. Okay? And then move on. It's a very exciting game, so after you play this game, do a clap, sit nicely. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Oh yeah, you can also remove the words if you think you want to see if they really know them and they're not just reading them. At the very end, you can remove the words and they're all going to be like, ah, okay, especially if they're good at reading it, but they maybe don't remember it. So you're not cueing at all now. There's just no words. You just need to see if they know it. So you say 3 and see who can actually say run without the help of being able to read it, okay? And let's move on. Now, as I told you before, we were teaching actions with every word, right? So every time I was teaching a word, I was teaching the action, drilling the action with them, okay? So we can play a TPR or an action game, okay? The way this works is really simple. You bring up students and have them in the front of the class facing the class. You can bring up 1 student from each team, 2 students from each team, 3 students from each team, whatever you like. If you have 2 teams, bring up 3 students from each team. If you have 4 teams, bring up 1 student from each team or 2 students from each team max. And the way it works is they stand facing the class, and behind them on the PowerPoint, there will be the new words. You push the button, the word flashes, and the seated students need to do the actions. Okay, they need to do the action for ride a bike. Okay, so before you play the game, you can re-drill the actions, make sure they know. Go through it one by one. You know, skip rope, and they do the action. Ride a bike, they do the action. Swim, they do the action. And just drill it really, really quickly, and then you tell them, you're going to do the actions, you say the word, okay? Don't do the action, you say the word, okay? So you push it, the students do the action. The first student at the front who says the word wins, okay? You can also reverse it, right? And you can make it so that the student sitting down, you just scream out the word, and the students in the front need to do the actions, okay? There's many ways you can play this game, and you see how I have it programmed here. All you need to do is click a button, and it will work, okay? I recommend you have a clicker, by the way. If you have one of these clickers, I don't know where mine is right now, but it's really useful to have in class. You can just stand there without having to push the mouse or push the space bar. You just click a button. It'll save you a ton of time. You just be holding it in your hand, and it just goes through really, really smoothly. And I actually filmed myself doing this class, so I'll put on a clip now. You can check out what this looks like in the real classroom.
Next one. Good. Next one. All right, this board is very fast. Next one. Next one. Good, good, good. Next one.
Okay, let's move on to the next part. All right, teaching part 2. So in part 2, we're teaching the word can. Now what I like to do is I like to show the Chinese and see who already knows it. You know, you can change this. If you decide to download this PowerPoint, you can change that Chinese into whatever language is their native language, okay? The key is see what they already know. Not only is this a good way for their memory, a good teaching method, But also, it's a great way to see, what do they know? What do they already know? You know, when you're designing your lessons in the future, you'll have a better idea of what these students can already do. You know, if you always show them the answer, you don't know whether they knew or not. And so when you're designing lessons in the future, it's not as easy to make a lesson which is right at their level or like just above their level to push them, okay? Then I show them this, and I see who can produce the sentence, okay? Someone raises their hand, they tell me the sentence, and I show them. Now, you can do actions for this entire sentence if you like. You know, you can say, I can run. You can teach this entire sentence with actions. It's very easy, you know, and drilling it this way will be really good. You can play a lot of other games if you have these in here. Like, you can just eventually stand in the front and they need to say, I can ride a bike, you know. So if you teach, especially with simple sentences like this, with grade 1, 2, or 3, teaching the entire sentence with actions is beautiful. And eventually you can just kind of be quiet and just be doing the actions and they can say the word. I actually did this with kindergarten years ago with like 4 and 5 years old. I'll put a link above. You can check out that video. This was years ago in Tianjin. And I used to have my entire classes saying long sentences with just me doing actions and them saying the entire sentence. It was beautiful and it saved my voice. Okay. Then move on to can't. Rinse and repeat the exact same thing you just did. See who can do it, award them points, teach the actions. Here it could be like, I can't, and then I can't fly. So I can't fly, or whatever your action is for fly, whatever you want to do for fly, okay? And do it for the second one as well. And let's move on. Okay, so now you're teaching the sentence, okay? What can you do, or whatever you want it to be, okay? In this case, I want to teach the sentence with the answer so we can do it together the whole time, okay? What can you do? And then I can, whatever it is. And if you're drilling these both together, you'll see that they can learn it really, really quickly. It's not that difficult. There are actually a lot of songs. I think the best song, Maple Leaf Learning has one, what can you do? But I didn't include it in this lesson just because none of my vocabulary that I'm teaching here are really in that one. So I didn't really want to put it in there because there's a lot of vocabulary in that isn't in my lesson. So the kids aren't really going to be drilling what I taught them. And I didn't want to make this lesson only like tailored to that song. Although you could do that, right? Tailor your entire lesson to a song, you could. But I didn't do that in this case, so I didn't include that. But the song in that one is super catchy. And if you want to include it in the beginning just so they can hear, what can you do? A bunch of times. It'll be really, really useful. So I say, what can you do? And together we'll drill the entire thing. I can ride a bike. Or you're going to show them, I can, and then they should raise their hand. And they can see the picture. They'll say it, I can ride a bike. I can't swim. Okay, you can point. I can ride a bike. I can't swim. Do the actions. I can ride a bike. I can't swim. Okay, drill it a few times. Okay, the whole class says, what can you do? And you do it again. Drill it a few times so they can hear it. Okay, you can do it by row. You can say, row number 1, stand up. What can you do? And they need to say it with the actions, or just say it. Award them points. Move on to the next row. Or half the class does it, half the class watches. You can do it a few times like this. There's a bunch of ways to drill. I recommend you experiment with different types of drilling and see what works in your class, okay? And do the same thing again, and yeah, move on, okay? Same thing again, and move on. You could do it, this is just 3 here I have on here. You can add another one. I think it's enough, you know, because we're gonna be saying this a bunch of times during the lesson. If you're just drilling, it can get boring and tedious for little kids, so I prefer just to drill it, let them say it a few times, have them stand up, say it, award point, get excited, give points, and move on, because they're gonna see this a bunch of times, okay? So here, I want them to actually raise their hand and tell me their answer. So I'll say, what can you do? And I go like this to raise your hand, and they'll stand up and they'll see who can do it. You'll have some students who can definitely already do this and they can model it for the class. This is going to be easy for some of them. Even in lower level schools, some of the kids are going to be able to do this pretty quickly. Some of the kids are just really brave and they'll raise their hand and do it, no problem. Okay, so what can you do? And they'll say, I can run, I can't fly, or whatever it is, and give them points. Do this for like a minute, call on maybe one student from each team, and move on. Okay, now this is the first slide that's only available in the second version. Okay, you remember what I said in the beginning, there's two versions. This part's only in the second version. It's called Find the Mistakes. Okay, so I have the translation there. They should be able to understand what it is. You can point at each one and say, I can sing, right? And they'll look at it, read it. It's more of a reading activity, right? They'll look, yeah, it's right. I can swim, and there's an X there. And then I'm like, huh? I can skip rope, and there's an X there. I can't fly, and there's a check there. So you can figure it out. Be like, which one is right? Which one is wrong? Which one is wrong? And then you can click on this and show them, oh, it should be I can't swim. Okay, and call on someone to come up and tell you which other ones are right or wrong. Okay, they should be able to figure out, this one should be I can't skip rope. I can fly. Okay, so they can see all the correct answers. And then we have another one here. They should be able to do this one much more easily. They should be able to look at it and say, oh, it should be I can't run. And this one, I can't swim. Yeah, it should be I can't ride a bike. Okay, good job, and let's move on. Okay. Okay, and then this slide is again something which is only available in the second version. It's the word but. So I would do the same thing I did before, show them the translation, and then see who can tell me how to translate it, give them points, and you can teach an action for but as well. Whatever you think is best, okay? And then you can award points, say it, drill it with the class, and then move on, okay? And so here, it's gonna be the same thing we just saw, except now it has the word but in the middle, okay? So the exact same thing we did with the easy version, but this time we just have the word but, okay? Okay, same thing here, exactly same thing. They raise their hand and they give you their own sentence, okay? Exactly the same, except now there's the word but. Okay, game time. Oh yeah, I made a little animation there. Okay, and let's see. Here's how it works. So in this game, it's a click away game. So if they click any of these flashcards, they're going to disappear and reveal points. Okay, so what you do is you call up one student from each team. You can bring them to the front. So if you have 4 teams, you have 4 students standing at the front. Then the whole class asks them, what can you do? And each student should tell you something they can do and something they can't do. And after they do it, you click on the points and give them points. Okay, so for example, the first student says, I can skip rope. I can't sing. All right, good job. 2 + 3 = 5. Good, team number 1, 5 points. The next student, what can you do? I can swim. I can't ride a bike. Oh, 1 + 2 = 3. You can even write this little math equation on the board and they can see it and hear it and see how it's said in English, okay? Give the points and move on, okay? This should only take a few minutes. If you think it's dragging on too long, you can go through it quickly. Just allow one team each, because I have 2 slides here with the same thing, but if you're wasting too much time in class, you've got to be able to judge. Like, this is taking too long. I have more stuff to do. Funner games are coming, so you can just go through it quickly. Skip the second slide. I like to leave it in there just in case, you know, especially if you have, you know, a bunch of different teams. You want to make sure it's even, because here, you know, you just want to make sure it's even. I like to have backup slides just in case. Okay, make sure you change the point values to the backup slides so it's not exactly the same. And then this is the version on the second. Excuse me. This is the slide for the second version. It just has but it's the exact same thing. Okay. Okay, and then we have the spin the wheel game, which the students absolutely love. So the way this works, I would bring up either one student from one team at a time, or you can bring up 4 students, you know, 1 student from each team, however you like to do it. And if you're playing with a small class, this will also work really, really well, obviously. And what they do is they need to spin the wheel, and based on wherever they land, they need to answer the question with that, okay? So the whole class says, what can you do? And they can say, I can swim, or this side is, I can't. Now, generally, if it's a small class, you can have them like roll both sides, like they can spin both sides, I mean. If it's a big class and you want a lot of people to play, just have them do one of them. So you can say, okay, the first student comes up, you decide this side's gonna be spun, they say stop, okay? And then everyone says, what can you do? And they say, I can run. All right, good, 2 points, okay? Then the next student is doing the other side. I can't, okay? What can you do? And then they say, okay, I can't swim. Now, if you let them choose, like let's say you tell them, oh, you choose, do you want can or can't? They're just gonna stand there and be like, it could just waste a lot of time. Like every 10 or 15 seconds during class that goes to waste is very precious because it adds up. So it's quicker if you just tell them like, okay, you 4 line up on this side, you 4 line up on this side, okay? One side's for can, one side's for can't. And everyone says, what can you do? And then the student on this side would spin, stop. The student on this side would spin and stop, okay? And then one student says, I can sing. And then the other student says, I can't skip rope, okay? And then 3 points on this side, 5 points on that side. Good job, go sit down. Next students, what can you do, okay? We spin. You can even tell them to say spin, and they all scream spin. And then the student says stop, okay? Other students spin, stop. It's all based on your style. I mean, you could do it so many different ways. And honestly, I don't do it the same way in every class either. I'm kind of always experimenting with different ways. And based on how much energy I have, I might do a little bit different. If it's the 5th class of the day, I'm obviously going to have less energy than when I'm fully caffeinated in the morning, and I'm not run down from all the classes in a row. So it just depends. There's so many ways to do it. I recommend find your own style. Find your own methods. It's going to work much more smoothly if you do it your own way, okay? I'm just giving you some advice on how to do it, okay? And if you download this PowerPoint, you have a great template to work off of. It just gives you a nice jumping off point. And then obviously we have the second version, which just includes the word but. So in this case, one student would spin both because now they're saying, the full sentence together with but in the middle. So stop, stop, and then they would produce the whole sentence. So the whole class would ask, what can you do? And they would say, I can skip rope, but I can't swim. All right, 5 plus 3. Okay, that's 8 points. Okay, good job. Go sit down. Next student comes up. Okay. The way I designed this lesson for download is that at the end of the class is a few options. Okay. So there's the spinning wheel game. There's also a dice roll game. Like you can see here, it's optional. I honestly don't think you're gonna have time to do all these games, but I like you to have extra stuff. You can choose which one you like, get the most value out of this, So pretty much here, it's the dice game. So if you're gonna play the dice game, make sure you have dice, obviously. So what can you do? They roll a die and they say, I can, let's say they roll a 1, they say, I can run, I can't skip rope. Or they roll a 2. I can sing, I can't ride a bike, and so on. Very, very, very simple. Okay, obviously the second version has but in the middle. Exact same concept, okay? Each one of these numbers, obviously, I didn't say it just now, but each one has 2 things in the middle, okay? One corresponds with can, one corresponds with can't, okay? If they tell you, I want to say, I can ride a bike, I can't sing. Okay, fine, it's okay. Like I'm not going to argue with them if they're doing that. I'm not super strict. If you want to be really strict, we can add in the check and the X. So it's like, no, that's the rules, But otherwise, there's just 2 vocabulary words in the middle. They can choose which one they want to say they can and can't do. I want to give them that freedom. I'm not going to restrict them, okay? And then the final thing is throw the ball game. It's a sticky ball throw. So a little animation I made, okay? And then pretty much same thing. In this case, you'd have to draw a little bullseye on the board, and you have to have a sticky ball, okay? And it's very easy, they walk up, you have a little line, they throw the sticky ball at the target, and if they hit the 5, they need to say the sentence using the vocab in the middle, okay? So here they throw it, they hit a 5, they have to say I can ride a bike, I can't fly. They throw and hit a 3, they say the vocabulary corresponding with the 3, and 2, and 1, etc. You can even set it up so that there's the line closest to the bullseye is only worth 1 point. So if, they throw it from the 1 point, they can only get 1 point. Or if they throw it from the 1 point line and they hit a 5, then they say the sentence, then it's 5 plus 1. Or you can have a second line a little further back that's worth 2 points. They throw it from there and they hit a 2. It's 2 plus 2 from the line, and then it's 4 points. There's a bunch of ways you can mix this up. You can make the impossible line where it's really far away, and they can get 5 extra points. If they can throw it from there and hit a 5, they could potentially get 10 points. You can do it any way you want, I found with little kids, like some of the boys can throw quite well, and some of the girls can obviously throw quite well too, but some of them can't really throw quite well, so it can be quite unfair. you know, because little boys are throwing balls around all day, you know, and like the girls, maybe they don't do that often. So if you make this game and it's too difficult, it could be unfair. Like I play with you know, toy guns sometimes, and you know, I have some girls that are like hitting bullseyes. Like one time I had a girl, she was the best in the whole class. But generally, the boys, because they play with these guns all day, they're a lot better than the girls. So these types of games can sometimes be unfair with little kids, like first graders and second graders, even third graders sometimes. So just be careful if you're doing games like this. You can make it really simple by putting the line really close to the bullseye, so that everyone, like no matter how bad they are at throwing, or if you're using a gun, how bad they are at doing that, they can still hit the bullseye or hit the 3, you know. Otherwise, like I've had really lopsided classes, and the girls, they don't want to play anymore. You know, they're like, I don't want to. If you tell them there's going to be a gun game, the boys like, yeah, and the girls like, nah, you know. So you gotta like really judge if you're going to make these lines. Make the first line really close, you know, and you can, if you're going to play it like that and you're really worried about that, make all of them throw from a really easy spot. So like there's not a really big differentiation between like the skill level of throwing the ball or shooting the gun or whatever you're doing. But yeah, that is the end of the class. Oh, here's the second version. Same thing, just with butt in the middle. And that is the end. That's the end of the class. I just wanted to show you at the end here, you know, you will need these two things if you're playing this class. You know, if you're using this PowerPoint, you will need a sticky ball. You will need die if you use that optional game. So don't forget to bring them, you know. And like I said, get a clicker. I don't know where my clicker is. I really recommend you get one of these, okay? It's a USB, so you just take this out, put it in the computer, and yeah, you can click this and control the slideshow. It will really save you a ton of time and headaches. Really recommend. They're pretty cheap. I forget how much it costs, but I'm in China. I bought it on Taobao. Really worth having. Definitely worth having. Okay, I really hope you found that walkthrough useful. If you'd like to teach this lesson yourself, don't forget, there's a link in the description. You can download that PowerPoint in minutes. And as always, please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, leave a comment below, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.